Welcome to Cooking with Kirstin. So before you all get too excited, I'm just going to tell you that my first cooking attempt was that my mum went away and I said, it's okay mum, I'll cook for Dad and I. And so when I took the chicken out of the microwave, which I'd roasted it in the microwave, Dad said to me, what's all that weird stuff, that plastic, did you take the giblets out? I said, what's a giblet, Dad? So that's what you've got more to come, just like that. So brace yourself. Now I've decided that I'm going to do some cooking for horse riders because I know that we're all super busy and it's really hard to put, gourmet meals on the table. So I thought what I would do is I would make things that are easy. Now I've already been given jip that I am a vegetarian, but every meal can be vegetarian and you just chuck a sausage with it. So there you go, you can keep your husbands happy or your children or whatever. And so tonight what I'm going to do is I'm going to cook a spicy chickpea curry. Now Lexi doesn't really like spicy things, so I'm not going to be cooking it too spicy, but if you've got some meat eaters, then I would say get a sausage out of the freezer now and put it in the defrost. Cook those and then just put it on the side, okay? Perfect. Or, probably not with a spicy chickpea curry, but you could just get a side of smoked salmon and, the meat eaters can have a bit of that or a bit of fish. Actually, this would go quite nice with a bit of fish. So, what I've got here is I've got all my ingredients all lined up here. And so I'll just go through them. Now, instead of, I'm on a bit of a health kick, as you may have seen, I've just done a bit of a detox, but I'll talk about that later. And in the middle of this, I'm going to hopefully be able to have some time to talk about some horsey things as well. So I've got some coconut oil, but any old oil will be fine. This recipe says sunflower, but I quite like coconut at the moment and it gives it a nice flavour too. Then we've got garlic, forgotten to get the garlic out of the fridge, we'll do that. We've got chickpeas, we've got curry powder, chilli, cumin, ground cumin, coriander, garam masala. Now, it's one of those things that when you never get organised or you do everything fast, I decided, Phil said to me, why don't you do the cooking show? I said, yeah, I can do that. Then at 3 o'clock I looked in my cookbook and thought, oh, what am I going to cook? Don't have any ingredients because it's lockdown. But benefit of Google is you can quickly just Google what can I do if I've got no tamarind paste. And of course, because I'm a bit OCD at the moment, I emptied the fridge and I chucked out the tamarind because it looked weird. Always looks weird, by the way. So anyway, so I've got a lime instead of tamarind, which gives it that sort of bit of a sour flavour, which is great. Chili, and tell you a story about chilies later as well. So the bigger ones are not quite so spicy, so I've gone just for Lexi's sake. It says 2 green chilies, but I'm just going to use 1. Lemon, water, and onion, and that's about it. It's so easy. Oh, and yogurt. Instead of using yogurt, I'm using coconut yogurt, the same diff. I shall be back. I'm getting my garlic and my coconut yogurt. Excellent. Alrighty. So, what we need to do is just get a pan to start off with. And then switch her on. And then start with a little bit of oil just to heat in the pan. Now, I was running a little bit late because I spent a bit of time trying to figure out what I was going to cook that I actually had in the cupboard. So I haven't prepped everything nicely. Mind you, I did think this didn't really need prepping until I read the recipe and saw that you need to grate the onion, which of course I hadn't done. So anyway, so in goes the old coconut oil. So just a little bit to just have a bit of a sidetrack while I'm doing this bit is that I've just been on a detox lately, and I must say I felt great, felt really good. I felt no bloating, I felt really healthy through the whole thing, which was fantastic. And it's made me just really look at my diet and what I'm eating. And I think being stuck in the house and having more time to cook has been fabulous for so many people. especially when we go down the lake, I just see everybody running and being really healthy and thinking about what they're eating. Now, thinking about filling your body with good stuff, you know, think about alkaline and acid stuff. So, God, I sound like Donald Trump now, stuff and injecting and things like that. But anyway, besides that, so I digress. So alkaline foods are all of your vegetables and things which are really helpful for your body and keep your body, you know, strong and fit and healthy. Now, your acidic things are, you know, all the stuff that's good, you know, wine. Don't mind if I do. Wine, sugar, oh, terrible, meat, dairy and gluten. So during the week I try to avoid all of those things, and then Friday night and Saturday night I don't mind if I just have a few sneaky bits and pieces. So just bear that in mind when you're eating, you know, trying to keep that alkaline diet is a good thing, and trying to cut back on your meat intake because of course that's acidic in your gut and all that sort of thing. But you know, certainly after that detox, found it really good. Right, so what I've got, oh, another little trick as well that you're probably on. Look, I better grate this onion, otherwise it's going to be midnight and we're not going to have eaten. And my best mate Shona, whenever she comes over and Phil says, darling, I'll cook for you, Shona and I are always comatose by the time he's actually finished cooking, and we're asleep and never get to eat what he's cooked. So we don't want to be like that. I better hurry up and do this grating of the onion. Now, a good tip, which of course I'm not doing, but is that, you know how you cry when you're grating your onions? And now, if you cook a lot, you probably all know this anyway, is that if you wear your glasses when you do it, then you don't make your eyes water and then you can actually read the recipe afterwards. The other thing is I've heard that if you keep them in the fridge, but I'm not that organised. Whoever has time to do that? Right, so I've done that enough. Now my whole hand is stinked with onion, but that's all right because I'm locked at home and no one else has to smell my hands, so that's all good. So I've got my onion. Now I'm stuck to buying garlic in a little pot, which I know isn't very cool. You know, we all want to do the right thing and whoop, beautiful, and have nice freshly crushed garlic, but I don't have that luxury because I haven't got my shopping yet. It comes tomorrow. So ready? In goes my onion. There we go. Look at that. Right. Now my garlic, and we need 4 cloves of garlic. Just chuck a bunch in because garlic's good for you anyway. So there we go. We've got our garlic. What else is in that recipe? Garlic, ginger. Now getting my ginger out of the freezer. That's very healthy. So keeping your ginger when you've got to grate it is just fantastic because it just grates really easily. So I'll just give it a quick grate. How much do I need of that? 2 teaspoons. Love a bit of fresh ginger too, and so good for circulation. Actually, it's good for loads of things, ginger. So there we go. I'm going to pop that in the pan as well. So especially the great thing, people think with vegetarian cooking that it all takes so many ingredients, but it doesn't. And a lot of the things, and I just need to pop over here and get my wooden spoon. There we go. Is that all of the herbs and spices and things that you put into your cooking all have real benefits. You know, your ginger is meant to be I'll get some Chinese herbalist ringing me and saying I've told everyone it's for the wrong thing. But as far as I know, the ginger is really good for your circulation, and you've got garlic, which is great. I need to put my green chilli in there as well. So while I'm chopping this, I'm just going to tell maybe a horsey story because I haven't got anybody sent anything that they would like me to talk about. So that's great. It just gives me free rein to just ramble about whatever I want to ramble. So I'm going to tell you a funny story, which is a little bit of an embarrassing story for me because I fell off. But there's always got to be a funny side to everything, really, doesn't it? So I was riding at Te Rapa. I better slow that down because I'm not very fast at chopping these chilies. And I had a bad experience with chilies once before rubbing my eye, so I better take it quietly. Anyway, I was riding at Te Rapa horse trial many moons ago in the riding some big warm blood thing, and I fell off at the sunken road. So anybody who's ridden at Te Rapa will know it well. I think they've actually broken it all down and it looks a bit different now. But anyway, Fonzie, the horse's name was, should have known better. But anyway, Fonzie came into the sunken road, no problem. You know, that's normally where you have your issues, jumping into the sunken road. No, Fonzie, being warm blood, he was a little bit slow. And the doofus, instead of jumping out of the sunken road, he decided to swerve and he smacked me into the bank on the far side. And so as I swung off, I cracked my ass on the back of it. Honestly, all I could say to the jump judge was, "Oh my God, I think I've broken my ass." And then after about a minute, she looked at me and she said, "Is your arm okay?" I said, "Yeah, my arm's fine. It's just my ass. Have you got something here that you can break? Bottom of my pelvis?" And she said, "No, you haven't moved your arm." So I went like this and went, "Oh God, I had broken my shoulder, bugger it," because it just didn't hurt, not as much as my backside. So anyway, hang on, I'm just going to check what do I need to do now. Until the onion is golden brown. So as you can see, it's not really going that golden brown yet, but anyway, that's all right. We'll just leave it do its thing. We'll keep going while I'm doing that, and I'll grab the can opener. Oh, wicked, the can opener's gone. Oh, Phil's got it for his Peronis. Oh, you know, and it was all just going so smoothly. So anyway, so I'm sitting there and I'm waiting for the ambulance, and I was thinking, it's taking a very long time. So I said to the jump judge, "Excuse me, is the ambulance coming?" She goes, "Well, yes dear, but there's been an issue. The ambulance got bucked off and his horse is now galloping around the car park." And I looked at her and I was like, "What? The ambulance?" She said, "Yes, instead of doing a normal ambulance this time," oh God, the can opener won't work. The heck? So she was like, "Yes, well, we've decided that it would be better." Phil, I might need you. I can't actually get the can opener. Oh, there you go. It's not saved. No, there you go. It's not in my repertoire. This is not going that well. But anyway. So anyway, what happened was he was so excited that he finally got somebody to rescue, that he was sitting there on his horse and he has all his oxygen bottles on the front of the saddle blanket and he's sitting there all kitted up. He gets the phone call, "Quickly, we need you at the bank. Somebody's broken their arm and broken their backside." And so he kicks the horse and the horse proceeds to buck him off and then gallops around the car park and its oxygen bottles are going and all the horses are pulling back and there's chaos and he can't catch his horse. So it took forever. Then finally when he came, he said to me, "Would you like some oxygen?" I was like, "Yes please, that would be super," or the laughing gas or whatever you call it. Very nice stuff that when you've fallen off. And anyway, he gave me some of that, and then I said to him, "Well, now what? I'm not getting on your horse to be walked back. I've got a really sore butt." So he was like, "Oh, it's all right, I'm going to ring for an ambulance." So I was like, after all that, you think you're going to save money because you've got a horse, you know, an ambulance on horse, but then you have to ring me a real ambulance anyway. So yes, so that was my story from Te Rapa. Now Phil says there is a question.
Yeah, do you miss owning horses?
Yes, I do, but do you know what?
That was from Jesse Montgomery.
Do you know what? I super do, but I don't whenever it rains, because whenever it rains for the first year, I would say, I would go, "Oh no, I need to go and change rugs," and it's winter, "Oh no, I need to go and feed hay," and then I go, "Oh, actually I don't." But I am really missing out. I'm really missing my pupils, because seeing them ride their horses and then improving and going is kind of like, I feel like I've done it as well, so I miss that. But I have been loving all of the Zoom lessons. The Zoom lessons are great. And I can sit here, and I had one day, actually better watch that. I had one day, I forgot to have a glass of wine, hang on. One day where it was thundering and lightning here, and I was teaching Lena up in Auckland, and it was beautiful blue sky, and here she is riding around at the arena, and it was like I was transported there. It was fantastic. So, I've done my, what have I done? Garlic, ginger, onion and green chilli, cooked it over a medium heat, stirring occasionally for 5 to 6 minutes until the onion is lightly golden. Add the chilli powder. Right, now the ingredients that we all like. Let's see. So,
Kirstin would like to know if you're doing lessons on how to use a can opener.
do you know what? I use hey, I'm a vegetarian. I eat a lot of canned beans and things, and you know, that's the first time I've ever had this issue. Actually, that's not true. Maybe it's faulty, because last week, and I got so angry with it that I had to cut the whole entire top off sideways because I just couldn't get it to come out fast enough. Right, so how much chilli do we need in here? Hot chili powder, 1 teaspoon. So there we go, we've got our 1 teaspoon. Right, then we've got our cumin, 1 tablespoon. Alright, so we're just going to hoy in a bunch of that. I do like a bit of cumin, so don't for a tablespoon, don't think you really need to measure it. I think that's right. Now we've got our coriander. Let's see how much coriander, tablespoon of that. I'll chuck in a bunch of that too. My favourite herbs, coriander and cumin. And then what do I have to do after that? Bloody, yogurt. Okay, so love this. This is my
question from
favourite. Oh, go Jess, what?
How hard have you found it sticking to your diet?
Oh, super easy.
I like wine during the week too much.
Yeah, do you know what? Now, I'm going to just take that off the thing when I put in my yogurt. I would say that I had started the slippery slope when, well, actually, when did I start that slippery slope? Okay, well, summer is tricky because the sailing club is a really nice place to sit and watch Lexi play on the pontoon, and it would be rude not to have a glass of wine while you're doing that. So, summer was a bit tricky because I did quite like a little bit of a glass of wine in the summertime. But then winter time comes, and you're a lot more, you're at home a lot more and that sort of thing, so then I get a bit more disciplined. But then lockdown came, and as soon as lockdown came, I was like, feeling a little frustrated. So then I started having a cheeky glass of wine in the evenings as well. But I must say that I've just done that detox, and because I was doing a detox and I'd paid, I don't know, I can't remember how much it was. I think $50 or something like that for the detox pills. I thought, Kirst, if you're going to go to all the trouble of doing a detox, you may as well do it properly. So then I really ate properly, like no sugar. Terrible pig when it comes to sugar. Like chocolate bar, I'd easily eat a chocolate bar in one sitting. Hope Phil's not listening. I have to hide the things. In fact, it's so bad. Hang on, I just need to see how much garam masala do I need. 2 teaspoons. Did you know that there's actually pills to stop you craving sugar? And it is called white mulberry. Oh, look at that now. Doesn't that look good? Oh, and it smells beautiful as well. That garam masala is delicious. God knows what's in it, but tastes great. So there we go. This is what it's. Oh, there you go. Look at that. Fantastic. Okay, give me 2 seconds. I just need to read my thing. Blah blah blah. Tamarind paste, right? So we're just squeezing our lime. So after we've done all that, stir in the measured water. Cook the garam masala for 1 to 2 minutes. So we'll leave that in there for a little bit. And then we'll put in our water, our chickpeas, and I'm just getting my sieve because actually I'll remember that for next time, if there is going to be a next time. if you all, I would love some feedback. So you can all say to me, and you don't need to worry about hurting my feelings. You do actually, because I'm quite sensitive. Oh no, I'm not really. Phil's the sensitive one. Oh yes, oh God, Sophie. So I've cooked for Sophie, so she'll be laughing her ass off.
Kirstin, tell the story of your super cooking you had at Tampo when you forgot the shopping.
There's been several horse trials actually where I've done things like that. So remind me. Do you know what? What I remember from that show is that So Sophie, it was the best groom ever. Actually, I've had lots of really good grooms. I can't say that, Soph. But you were the most tolerant, actually. So I'm just going to chuck in my water. I'm coming back to that. So at the moment, I'm at the point where I need to stir in the measured water and bring to the bowl. There we go. I've pre-measured the water just to make life faster. Should have done that with a few other things. But anyway, so I've chucked those in there. Now I've put in my 2 cans of chickpeas. So there we go, I put in my cans of chickpeas. I need to put in my curry powder, which is here, voila. How much curry powder do I need? I need 2 teaspoons, easy tiger. So there we go, and then I'll bung in my lime, and then I'm all good. Actually, then I'm all yours, and then I can answer that. So Soph, you'll have to remind me what I cooked because I know it will be horrendous. All I remember is that the next next morning, it poured and poured and poured all night at Taupo at the horse trial, and I packed a little tenty and wouldn't ride because I said it was going to be too dangerous, and I lay in the truck like a big fat heifer, and I asked Trudy to get me some mock cream donuts at the supermarket. And so she went to the supermarket, and I had a little window above the luton where my bed was, and she arrived with my mock cream donuts, which she said that it was fine, there was plenty of them because no one else on earth eats those donuts. And I sat in there, and then I think it was about 1 o'clock, it finally stopped raining, and I Soph tacked up hula, and away I went, and I did one cross country. Did Soph tell me what I cooked her? Surprise peas! And just as I asked, I was like, surprise peas, and didn't they expire like a year? They'd expired like 2 years before. Yes, mock cream donuts for breakfast and surprise peas.
And O'Neill would like to know what you're cooking.
I am cooking a spicy chickpea curry, and you'll be able to get the recipe at the end of this. And you will, you'll be able to watch this, not live, later on if you want to watch anything that we've talked about previously.
And we're getting a few comments around the sausage being thrown in for non-vegetarians.
Okay, would you like a little more gourmet? What about chucking in a nice side of sole or a tenderloin of chicken? That would be lovely too. A little bit of Julia Childs there on the side. Now I'm just looking if I've used all my ingredients. Yes, just don't want to leave anything out because I do that. I'm known for not reading the recipe. Now, and I'm known for making things a little bit too spicy. Nicole Graham came over for dinner many years ago. This is before I learnt to cook properly, and I didn't read the instructions properly, and I put the whole jar, or somebody did, of the chili, of the, red curry paste in with it, and I prepped it all, and I made all the vegetables, and we sat down for dinner, and her and her partner couldn't eat it, and in the end I had to give them a packet of squiggles for dinner because they wouldn't eat the dinner. So yes, I have been known to do that, so never mind. Little sip. Any more questions?
Sophie Wilkinson, luckily we have been given a quiche from a pupil you taught just before we left.
That's right.
And Ali Matthews reckons the wine is getting to you.
Well, over the years. It's definitely got to me over the years. Now, I'm just going to show you. Oh, I'm not sure whether I can show you what this looks like. No, it looks like a cesspool. So it's green, and you can't really see the chickpeas in there, but it's all right. It smells delicious. Now, so, what other horsey stories can I tell you? Now, I could do a little bit of a promo while I'm here. So, I've just made a whole lot of dates. Now, some of you will know that I am being a bit backward and coming forward to just make some dates because I have no spleen. And a horse kicked me when I was 16, jumped down behind it, put my hand to say here I am as I jumped down, and he kicked me and I had my spleen removed. So I'd actually forgotten that that puts me in a vulnerable spot. And luckily Jo Bell rang me to say that her dad has no spleen and should might be locked up nice and safe at home before lockdown happened. So anyway, I've made some dates and I'm going to be teaching up in Auckland first weekend of June, and I'll do a clinic in Taupō the second weekend of June, and then I'm going to Hawke's Bay on the third weekend, and I just can't wait to get out and see you all. So I'm so excited about that. I have been having withdrawals from seeing horses and that sort of thing. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. Right, so it's just starting to boil now. So what I do when it starts to boil is that you bring back to the boil and then reduce the heat to a medium and cook uncovered for 15 to 20 minutes until it's thickened. Righty-ho, so it's just all good to go. Now how easy was that? And then when you're done, like Phil always teases me because when I cook he cleans up and there's always like carnage. But I must say, I've got a grater, a sieve, 2 tins, a squeezer, a knife, and that's about it.
I've got a comment from Marianne Payton-Sench.
Oh gosh, all the people who've worked for me who can vouch for what a really good cook I am.
I didn't realise you had such great cooking talents. They never came out until 40th at Black Bar. And then from memory, I always bought takeaways over for tea.
Oh, did you guys hear what? Oh, you can see. Can you see comments as well? That's funny. Do you know what? So it's so funny that all the people who've worked for me all comment on my culinary skills, because that's the problem. You know, as a horse rider, I honestly, in my heyday, I used to ride 13 horses a day, and then I'd go and teach for the rest of the afternoon, and then when I get home, I'd be like, oh God, I'm tired, what can I eat? And I'd be just like wanting to stuff food in my mouth because I wouldn't have eaten properly all day. And so I never really developed any cooking skills, you know, until, when did I? Could I cook when I met you, darling?
Yes, darling.
Oh, actually, I was just thinking, do you know what? I never forget the first night that Phil came over and he said to me, I'm going to cook you a dinner. I'm going to come over, I'm going to bring all the ingredients. And he came and he had his little chili bin and he had all his vegetables and bits and pieces to cook me a lovely dinner. And Deirdre Smith, my dear friend who I ride Donegal, used to ride Donegal for, Deirdre's an amazing cook. And so she said to me, you know, oh, whenever you cook salmon, Kirst, all I want you to do is just get, I'm just trying to remember what it was, maybe a little bit of garlic, sweet chilli sauce and freshly crushed ginger, and then just sprinkle it or spread it all over the salmon and then just bake it in the oven, and it is amazing because it all gets chewy. Actually, Deirdre should be making her own cooking show. And when you pull it out, it's got this like toffiness that grows all over the top of it. It's absolutely outstanding. It is so delicious. Where was I going with that? Oh, so when Phil comes and tries to woo me with his culinary skills, I was like, I think he had bought the old salmon. I was like, now, would you like me to make, rather than that store-bought sauce, would you like me just to whip up a little bit of a sauce? And so I did it, and he thought that I was a wonderful cook, but I wasn't. I just traded that secret from Deirdre and run with it. So, you know, back to that whole thing of
So Sophie Wilkinson has just said that Kirstin was famous for sleeping for 3-star.
Do you know what? Actually,
she used to wake you up once the horse was ready to go.
Which makes me sound like a complete spoiled wanker, and I think actually in hindsight I was. Harsh but true. But you know, that's the problem, I suppose, is that when you feel like you're good at something, you say to yourself, well, I need to have a sleep. And actually, somebody had crashed before that incident when I had a sleep on the ramp. It was a lovely sunny day and I was waiting to go 3-star on hula, and I had a little nap because I like to conserve my energy, and I'd ridden a few horses already and I thought it was always good to have a bit of a rest. But I am a bit of a weirdo because even when I would have a bunch of horses, I had this real fear that I might run out of energy. Like me, run out of energy, because I normally go at 100 miles an hour anyway, but I like to make sure that I've eaten. And so, you know how when you get nervous and you can't eat at a show? What I did was that, first of all, I started with aeroplanes. So I would just eat aeroplane lollies before I rode, because when you're nervous you don't feel like eating. And then I progressed. Mum would make me pancakes, and actually Kelly Drinkcrow used to come over to my truck because that was our thing. We'd eat pancakes because they were delicious before we went cross country. Then when I started to ride a whole heap of horses up the grades, then what I ended up doing was I would be in the truck. I would have hopped off one horse. Mum or the groom or whoever would have taken that horse off to wash him. I would have run inside the truck and I would be cooking French toast, and I would be eating French toast before I went out on the next horse, because I would hate to think that I might run out of energy on my horse. So it is really important to eat properly, and you know that's the one thing that when I was on the squad, you know, they do everything. They do physio, they do nutrition, they do biomechanics, they do psychology, and you know, when you do all of that sort of stuff, you realise how important it really is to eat, you know, eat properly when you're competing. And lots of the riders in the squad would all joke, you know, that after they'd finished the cross country, that they'd be just hoeing into the chips and, you know, stuffing food in because they hadn't eaten all day, whereas not me, baby. No, I would have made sure I would have cooked up something or had loads of food. And in the days when Katie Treadaway groomed for me, Caroline Treadaway is the most amazing cook as well. So whenever Katie came, Caroline would come and she'd always bring this amazing food. And so it would be quite helpful because I could just nibble away. And I suppose as well, I must say as well, Mum is really super at cooking as well. So I've never really gone without good quality, yummy food, which means it makes it much easier just to grab something and have a little snack, you know. But having a bunch of, you know, nuts while you're in between rides, you know, has great natural fats in it, so it gives you energy, as well as you know, fibre and protein, all those sorts of good things. Plus they're easy. You know, maybe if you're feeling a little nervous and you've got a bit of a dry throat, chewing a nut isn't probably the best thing. Then I'd go back to the gummy bears or to the aeroplanes. But you know, there's lots of things, even those drinks. You know, those drinks which have got, not the up and go, I just think they're putrid, they're revolting. But there's actually lots of little protein bars and shakes and things like that, which is really good just to keep you, you know, energised, and so you've got fuel. And the other thing is dehydration. Super, super important, you know, which is one of those things, actually, whenever I fell off, they would never be able to find a vein to give me any, you know, feel better juice, because I'd be so dehydrated that my veins would be dropped. So after about the second or third fall, where they were in my vein digging around trying to find it, I always made sure I drank a lot more on cross-country day. My issue was that I have a Woolworths bladder, and so I hate the thought of going cross-country and then thinking, oh no, I needed to go for a wee. So you'd always see me before the start of a cross-country, there'd be me warmed up, and then I would be like, oh, how many horses to me? Oh, 4 horses to me. Oh, I might need to go for a wee. Somebody once told me that if you fall off and you've got a full bladder, that your bladder bursts, so I was like paranoid about it. So I would always be like, oh, can you hold my horse? Quickly get them in the toilet, have a quick wee, which would be like a tiny little tinkle, like hardly worth getting off and undoing your flippin' jodhpurs for. But it's, you know, paranoia. Lots of us have these toilet anxieties anyway.
I've got a good question here from Jessie Montgomery.
Yeah.
Do you think anxiety before competing is normal?
Oh, hell yes. Hell yes. You know what? Actually, this is a revolting story to tell when you're stirring up a bunch of green-looking chickpeas. But when I rode at Adelaide 4-star, we were all pretty nervous beforehand, and somebody said to me, oh, well, at least, actually I won't say his name, he's an Australian, and he's ridden for Australia at the Olympics. anyway, anybody who knows who I'm talking about will go, oh yeah. And somebody said to me, oh, well, at least he's not competing, because when he's in the 10-minute box, he throws up. And I was like, what? And I just was shocked, because I thought, what? He's ridden at the Olympics 2 or 3 times, and he's still yundering on the side of the 10-minute box. That's bizarre. So, you know, it's obviously not bizarre. Everybody's different. So I would say that in the beginning, before I went cross country, I didn't get nervous about hurting myself. I was more nervous that I might not win, because I'm competitive, and so I would always be that little bit of thinking, oh, what happens if he runs off? What about this line I've walked? You know, should I go straight through, or should I take the option? I'd hate to make a mistake and not win. Oh, but then if I take that and I'm too slow, then I won't win. So it was always that thing going on in my head, you know, when the horses aren't established at a level and you know you can trust them, always that little bit of a risk that you never want them to have bad results with you know, run-offs and things like that. So you're always kind of working on that. Later on, right at the end of my career, when after I had Lexi, I started to worry a little bit more that I might hurt myself, and that was a different sort of fear. And when I started feeling that fear, I just thought, you know what, it's just different, you know. So that's when I crashed and broke my collarbone, broke my thumb, and then went, okay, I think I've done my dash now. And now when I go into the ring to go show jumping, my heart feels like it's going boom, 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 but it's a great feeling. And as long as you can turn that into focus, that's the best thing. Because being nervous is actually fantastic, because it makes adrenaline pump around your body. And so what that does is it makes you sharper, it makes you think quicker, and it's much, much better. There has been times where I've been nervous and slow and hungover. Not such a good I remember somebody saying to me, oh, I came to watch you ride at Clevedon. Oh, you rode really well. I was so hungover that I think I was lying on Baggy's neck pretty much the whole cross country, and he carted me round, and I thought, oh God, how embarrassing, somebody saw that. That's very unprofessional, getting drunk the night before a cross country, I must say. I never did it again after that. But I must say that those nerves, you know, when you feel like you're really slow and apathetic, I've had that once or twice, and then you've got to really be tough on yourself. You never want to go into a show jumping competition or go into a cross country feeling, you know, sleepy and like, oh, I feel so nervous. You've got to actually give yourself a tune up and say to yourself, right, get in the mode. I remember James Jackson and I can't remember who else it was, said that they used to go into the truck beforehand and go and like yell off each other just to kind of pep themselves up a little bit and get in that aggressive zone. And if you're a little bit of an apathetic person, that's what you need to do, is fire yourself up to get yourself all homey.
So Shani's worried that her bladder's going to burst next time she pulls off. Katie remembers the nachos. Rosie remembers Matt, who used to puke in the 10-minute box.
Oh.
And Sue reckons it's a great evening's entertainment.
Excellent. Well,
and Jessie's censored.
Excellent. I love it. Well, do you know what? It's funny that somebody should bring up the nachos, because I like beans. Quite like beans. Actually, maybe that's why, you know, I'm not even going to say that. Anyway, I do like things that are quick and easy. And so whenever we had lunch, somebody might contradict me and say, oh, Kirstin, when I groomed for you, all we did is eat toast. Actually, I did go through a toast and peanut butter stage. I think that was Mary Ann. I think that's what we lived on. But the other thing was that I would get a can of red kidney beans and a can of, can't remember what else, probably some other beans or some lentils or something like that. And I used to just put them in, drain them, give them a wash, and then just stir them, and then have a whole bowl of corn chips, because I was gluten-free at that stage, so that was no bread or anything like that. And this is when Phoebe worked for me, and we used to just eat a bowl of all these beans with corn chips, and that used to be lunch. And then we probably ate that for 4 months, every day, because it was quick and easy and nutritious, and it would keep me going for the rest of the day. And then I remember somebody suggested that they said, do you eat them without any flavouring? Yeah. What about getting some of that sweet fruit chutney in a jar there and putting a tablespoon of that and stirring it through? So then Phoebes and I looked at each other and were like, yeah, we can go another 4 months on this meal because this is a new meal now because it had lots of flavour. So, there's nothing wrong with nachos. They're actually super. Now, righty-ho. How is this? How am I going to do this? You can't see it because if I do it, it's just going to turn on a bit of an angle. I might need to pick the pot up and do a little bit of a show and tell. Let's see. Oh, how long have I been rambling for? Oh, quite a long time. 40 minutes. I better shush up and go, hadn't I? So, I'd love some feedback. If you're enjoying these, and Phil said to me last night, I watch this Manchester United guy every day when he's on his bike, and he said, you should do that, darling. So I thought, why not? So if you think these are entertaining and interesting and you'd like to see more of them, leave me a message, and if you've got any comments or questions that you'd like me to talk about next time in them, then that sounds awesome. And voila, I'm going to pick up the phone. Dun, dun, dun. Ready? And here we go. And here is the finished product. Oh, everyone goes, good God. You know what? It's taking too long. Last time it was too dry, and so this time I put some more water in it, and it was too watery. Look, is everyone going, good God, that looks disgusting. I don't care. It will taste delicious. And when I go to serve it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some more coconut yogurt and I'll just drizzle it over the top.
Jessie would like to know, is the curry alone or is it with rice?
Well, you can serve it with rice. I like to serve it with some crusty bread because I do like a bit of bread. And some lemon, because lemon is great for bringing out the flavours, and a little bit of fresh coriander, but unfortunately I ripped it all out of the garden last week because it looked a bit suspect, and so I haven't got any of that. So a little bit of coconut yogurt drizzled on the top, squeeze a bit of lemon on the top and throw a little bit of coriander. If you're bigger eaters, then go for the rice. Otherwise, just serve as is with a little bit of crusty bread or something like that. It's delicious. Or nachos, exactly. Love it. Hey, great to see you guys. Have a good evening and tune in for some more gourmet dinners. See you. Bye. Is that off?
I'm on delay here.
Finish?